All right. It's another nerdy night as my roundtable joins me, sitting deep within the Umbrella Corporation with zombies trying to beat down the doors. I'm your CEO, Ben, the ridiculous Riddick, and joining me today is a man who kept telling me the T-Virus project was a terrible idea, Sam Chen.
I know. You just don't listen. Why don't you listen to the Asian? The Asian is always right.
Yeah, well, the Asian also typically dies fairly quickly. Just gonna throw that
Um,
out there.
I'd like to point out which character is still alive in The Walking Dead, even though I haven't watched last week's episode.
I don't watch The Walking Dead, so
There's
um,
this character still alive. And if you're telling me he dies, I'm gonna cry.
Say
and
nothing.
and our
I feel like I
third
would have seen it.
guest is a man so badass we decided we needed to clone him to take on the zombie menace. Nathan Essick.
Doing the best I can.
Good, good. I heard you're immune, right?
It's worked so far, but try not to push my luck with it.
I gotcha, I gotcha. Well, tonight we have a great show planned for you, but before we get to our first topic, let's talk about active quest lines. Sam, let's start with you.
So I have recently re-gotten into the serial podcasts. So there was an article that came out a little bit ago, and they talked about some like side podcasts that like supported serial that I've been listening to. So the Undisclosed podcast, and it's one called Serial Dynasty, and they're just such great content. Because the Undisclosed podcast is basically going through, and it's three lawyers. One of the women on there is the one who kind of started Serial. She was the one who originally reached out to Sarah Koenig and said like, "Hey, this is a story you should look into." And man, it's just cool. And there's like probably like 12 or 13 episodes. It's been going on since April, and I don't know how I didn't hear about it, but I'm just listening to Serial stuff all over again, and it's so great. Free
Awesome.
enough. He's not guilty. Hashtag Jay is the killer.
So, explain to me what exactly serial podcasts are.
No, the Serial podcast.
The the okay, so explain to me what
Okay.
it is.
So,
Obviously, because I and probably some of the listeners have no idea what you're talking about.
okay. So, Serial is a podcast that was produced by a woman named Sarah Koenig, who spun off from This American Life, which is an NPR show. And essentially, what they did for season one is they picked a case which happened to be like a murder trial, or a murder case from 1999, and they kind of told it in a serialized form where they talked about all of the different aspects of the case, because the kid's been sitting in prison for like 17 years, 16 years, and there's just so much different stuff around the case that didn't seem right. No one's actually like ever put the story together. There's definitely some missing elements to figure out whether he did or did not kill his ex-girlfriend, and there's no good answer. There's just no straightforward answer for it.
Gotcha.
Um, at the time, and I think it ended its first season at the end of 2014. It was like the most listened to podcast ever. And now I think every podcast now uses that as the bar. So we have more podcasts that have leaped over that line. But it was just a very, very engaging storytelling like podcast where you got connected to the characters, you figured out what happened and what didn't happen, and the great part is there's no real answer. And even better than that, like since the podcast came on air, there have been more and more situations that have actually like helped this guy's case move along, because he was in appeals, and
Gotcha.
I think like recently as like January, February, so like 2 to 3 months after the show ended, like he got approved to get to a certain level of appeal in his case, which has been really interesting. You should listen to it if you haven't. If
Yeah,
you like,
no, I think it's something that I absolutely think I'll
yeah.
have to go download.
They've announced the season two and the season three. I don't know if they've announced dates, but I think the season two topic, it's not going to follow the same guy slash case in season one. It's going to be about it's going to be about the guy who was killed in Texas, the former Marine guy, where like somebody came and killed. I can't remember the case.
Gotcha.
Anyways,
well,
it
it
should be
sounds like a
interesting.
cool thing that people should check out. Nathan, what have you been doing?
I am prepping for Fallout 4. I have been delving deep into the all the vaults of Fallout 3, vaults of Fallout New Vegas, and it's been consuming a large portion of my time. Super excited for all that they've shown us for Fallout 4, and just can't get enough Fallout in time.
The game is going to be so awesome.
It
I'm
looks
really excited
absolutely
about
amazing.
the fact that console versions are going to be able to get the mods.
And
That's
that
the coolest thing.
absolutely a brilliant move, because for
Yeah.
a while I'm a PC gamer, but it was complete nonsense to not have it. I mean, the platforms can handle it.
Yeah.
So it's awesome they finally open up, and it opens up the market for more and more mods for everybody, because more people are then willing to make mods.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that leaves me with my active quest, which Sam was supposed to ask me about, but he decided not to.
So Ben, what's your active quest?
I have been working on pretty much nothing but Extra Life for the past, ever since I got back from Europe, and things are coming together really freaking nicely. We got a wonderful package today from Naughty Dog, because they decided, hey, we're going to donate a bunch of shit to you to give away during the stream. So I've got the big collector's edition with the Nathan Drake statue of Uncharted 3. I've got the art book for the trilogy. I've got a bunch of stuff um, to do with that. It's really exciting.
He's
If
not
you want,
stealing any of it for himself.
no, I'm not. I want to so bad, but I won't. Um, but there's actually, we've got a tentative schedule worked up, and it's being put together piece by piece on the nkrn.org website. If you go to nkrn.org/extra life, you'll be able to find all the information, because we're doing a live event here in the Bay Area at D20 Games in Alameda. Sam's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Brant Range is going to be there. It's gonna be a blast. And
Ben, we should just say random celebrities are going to be there,
yeah,
even if they're not.
I believe we confirmed
Let's just list people.
we confirmed on stream during my King's Fall Sherpa that Donald Trump's going to be there.
Donald Trump.
Because
Ben
his hair
Carson
gonna be
might
there.
be there.
yeah, exactly. Hashtag Trump 2016.
As long as his hair is gonna be there, I mean, that's pretty
That's
pretty
really
amazing.
the most important part. I heard he might give it away.
Ooh, that's a prize in itself.
So yeah, make sure you guys check it out. The event is going to be November 7th from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. Pacific time. And it's going to be a freaking blast, and I can't wait for it. But I think that kind of is a good spot to go into our first topic of the evening. And Nate, I really liked what you had chosen for your topic today. So why don't we go ahead and start with you?
All right. I just want to talk about once again, the best way that I can put it is the bastardization of quests that we have from like massive MMOs and some modern day RPGs. I remember when I was in middle school and high school, I stayed late after school, and we'd play paper and pen games. We'd make our own stories. We'd go on these great quests, great adventures, and we loved it. And it was this great thing. But now that I'm older, I play MMOs heavily. I played WoW, Rift, Elder Scrolls Online, and we've gone from this thing of being a quest, being this great sense of adventure, to being a quest is like a grind now, and it just feels so exhausting. And instead of saying yes, I get to go on a quest, it's like, man, gotta knock out these quests and maybe get this loot and then do this and do this. And I mean, it's obviously probably varies from person to person, but it just feels like we've kind of ruined a great thing in gaming.
I'm not necessarily sure that we've ruined a great thing in gaming. I think because every game, including MMOs and RPGs especially, it's doing the same thing over and over. It's just how well the developers hide that you're doing the same thing over and over. And when you look at it, not a lot of RPGs have changed drastically in their form. So I don't think it's necessarily that we've lost what makes the quests like so exciting. I think we've become desensitized to the quests that we're doing.
I don't know. I mean, I think there's some argument about like, I think it's beyond this idea of like whether a game is linear or not linear. It becomes like, am I giving you interesting things to navigate around in the plot of the main story arc? And so like so my topic for, or my basis for comparison would be like a game like Chrono Trigger, where you go on these like random quests that you really don't understand. It's like, why do I need this stone in this village? It doesn't make sense. Maybe it's the key to time travel. That stuff I think is cool, and I think more and more it is a grind, and especially as you create quests that like you have to do over and over again to get different things. It, you know, there's just this repetitive nature where like the quest seems to be like what you have to do. Like exploration isn't something you can do anymore. You just quest.
I agree. I mean, I totally agree with you saying. I mean, it's not all games. It's a far throw from all games. There are games who do it absolutely perfectly these days. It's just some of those games, you know, like how many boars have you killed in WoW for the people who play WoW? It's like, I think it's the best relatable one. I mean, how many times can you go fetch this one specific item and bring it back? It's absolutely what you said. It's how well can you tie that in with a story and make me feel like I'm progressing a story and I'm doing something that furthers the adventure instead of just doing chores.
Exactly.
Yeah, but in the end, you're still doing just that. You're doing chores. I mean, how much can you dress it up?
Well, I mean go ahead.
No, go ahead. Insist. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I think it's like, in some sense, it's like, all right, here's how I grind levels in a game, and I'll go and get random encounters and I'll kill things. When you turn that into like a quest every time, then like it does desensitize me to what a quest actually is.
Agreed. And it's like Destiny. Destiny is a great example.
Yeah.
Because we don't talk about Destiny enough
never.
on this show.
It's the Fight Club, right? You don't talk about it ever. Yeah. But Destiny does it great because you can actually do different things. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are other games that have that ability. You can go to level however you want, or you can even skip all the quests. But Destiny, I never felt. I felt like there was a storyline I was pushing. I may not have been the best way to tell a storyline because Destiny is infamous for that. But whether or not I understood what was going on 100% through the story, I understand that I was doing something in that story, and it's very rewarding.
So what you're telling me is, back in the day when you completed Vault of Glass and you needed 800 relic iron, you could see how that tied into the story by running around in circles on Mars trying to farm chests and relic iron.
I don't know if you've paid attention to the value of relic iron on the stock market, but it's pretty impressive stuff.
But the thing is, that was never a quest.
No,
I mean, it was now with the swords, but like...
Yeah, like Touch of Malice. Touch of Malice goes a bit too far. I'll give you that. Stuff like that's mind-blowing. But
I don't know, the Touch of Malice quest wasn't that bad. I think the exotic sword quest, that was garbage.
That was super grindy.
Running around Mars hoping that I could collect 10 of these freaking Ascendant essences or whatever the fuck it was. It made me want to murder a baby. What made me want to murder a baby even more was the fact that within 5 minutes, I had 3 of them, and then the other 2 people I was running with hadn't gotten any, and then both of them finished before I did.
I did the set time forward trick.
So did I.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get 2 relic iron to spawn next to each other near an end of a zone, and they just... I think I did it in 30 minutes, which still felt like forever, but...
Well, so we're kind of going off of Nate's main question, or main topic, which, I mean, what do you think, Nate, that they need to do in current games to make it less grindy? What is Destiny doing right? Because, tell you what, I still feel like a lot of those quests are quite grindy.
They are some. There are some, but it's not like it's really hard because I'm continually addressing the same group of games, the MMOs, where it's all about questing. But make quests something that you do for like some rare stuff. For instance, if you want something equivalent to the touch and mouse, you go do a quest. It's not a necessary item, and it's not necessary for you to play the game. But you know what? You're rewarded for the hard work you put into it. We need to figure out ways to put players through the story instead of just saying, "Hey, listen, you need to go do this, do this, do this," and then you can actually play the game. Then you can actually get to where you need to get to.
It's actually interesting, even like simple stuff where I was slacking on my gunsmith stuff on Destiny, and I realized, when you get to a certain level and you get the quest to get the item, and you need to do like X number of kills while using a telemetry, like it'd be cool if for some other reason you'd have to like go through a mission and you could only use that type of weapon.
Yeah,
like that could be an interesting
Yeah.
quest. And if you did that, you unlocked it. Because now it's like, all right, well, I just need to break down a couple of rares or legendaries. Like, okay, I get it. Like, it's a necessary additional step, but that's boring. Like, I can do that quickly or take forever doing it. Like, I think tell better stories is really the answer to the question.
It really is. Like, I feel like we're slowly losing the art of telling a good story through a game. And there are games who still do it amazingly. Like, just need to look at, from my opinion, the Mass Effect series, telling a fantastic story. Exactly.
Those games.
I mean, if you didn't cry when something's happened in Mass Effect, I'm not going to give any spoilers away, just in case some people haven't finished it.
Yeah, the
Man,
game
there are
that's
moments
been out for
I
how
teared
many
up.
years?
Not going to lie.
No, I agree. I think I must have replayed all 3 of those games at least 10 times.
They're
Just
phenomenal.
Just for the sheer fact, it's like you get to game 3 and you're like, oh man, I remember that from game 1. I should go back and play game 1 and change my decision to see what happens.
Exactly.
So, I mean that is a game I do find does it well, but I mean, does it? I feel like those games are perfectly fine. There are enough of those games. Not to say that I don't know exactly how to put what I'm saying. Like there are great games out there, and there's a lot of great games out there that I don't feel like what you're saying exactly is as big of an issue.
Oh, of course not. It's not an issue across the board, but there are games, and they are some of the more popular games that just it's an issue for them. And it's of course not across all the board. There are games who I feel like you're immersed in the story, you're a part of the story the entire journey, and that's absolutely amazing. I love that. It's what makes video games great, and glad those games are able to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's great that we've gotten to a point in video gaming where we can tell stories a different way, right? So like the Telltale games. I don't know if 10 years ago or 5 years ago they would have been nearly as successful as they are now with just the way that they can immerse you in different things. I think that's a cool thing, but I think other games haven't caught up to that or haven't figured out how to merge that with your traditional gaming motif of like an RPG. In fact, RPGs are more linear now because of it, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I could see that for sure. I think that's a good place to kind of move on to our next topic. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to add into it?
I'm good.
Okay. Cool. Well, then the next topic for the evening is my topic. I figured I'd try to I'd try to go something Halloweeny since Halloween is coming up in just a few short days, and I want to talk about some horror video games. Specifically like the kinds of games that are coming out now. Like, I mean, Alien Isolation is a good example. Until Dawn is a good example. There are just some great scary games out there, and I just wanted to kind of get your opinion on what some of your favorite horror games are based on what you think makes a great horror game. So Sam, tell me what are some of your favorite horror games?
Well, so here's the thing. Like, I really don't like horror as a genre in video games. Like, and quite literally because a lot of them actually just scare the shit out of me.
Gotcha.
If we were looking at the genre and thinking about games I've definitely liked some of the Resident Evil series. That's been fun. I think I played like the first couple and then didn't play again until 5, and I thought that was still pretty good. I'd grown up a little bit, less scared. I don't know, like on the original PlayStation, I don't know if you guys played Parasite Eve. That was kind of scary.
I loved that game so much. Oh my god.
Yeah, so I mean, like things like that are probably some of my favorites. The thing is, like, you know, they'll talk about Silent Hill, and I'm like, I never played one. They're too scary for me.
No, I feel your pain. I feel that way about scary movies. Like I cannot, for the life of me, do scary movies, but I can play a scary game, and most of the time be okay with it. I mean, there's some shit that scares the crap out of me. Like playing Outlast was scary as hell, and I mean, but something about me being able to control the scenario a little more makes me a lot less scared.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Nathan, how about you? What do you think are some great horror games, or what makes them great?
I've actually played very, very little horror games.
Gosh, this is a great topic to
I know, right?
Today.
I know. I did play Fear. I don't know if Fear really counts as a horror game. They were designed to scare you, but it wasn't like Alien Isolation or Soma. I know I probably butchered that name, but I feel like those games I prefer to watch them on Twitch. I feel it's a lot better to watch someone else's reaction at night when it's dark and someone else is getting scared too when you're playing it. And having the very reason you don't like the horror movies, having very little control. Like you can see, oh man, he's gonna pay for this. He should not be doing this, and then lo and behold, he pays for it.
No, I think that's like what's propped horror games up so much, though. The fact that they're so great to watch on Twitch. I must have watched Until Dawn like 5 or 6 times just to watch different people play the game.
And it's great. But yeah, I never got the. For a lot of games, it was hard for me to get the horror feeling, the scared, because I felt like I was so in control of the game. Like I could make choices, and if I messed it up, I would go back and I would do something different. So I really had a hard time getting deep in that scared feeling from that. So I'm not the best person to ask on that.
Did either of you guys play Dead Space? Or
I did
BioShock?
God.
Dead Space and BioShock both.
So
yes.
I didn't make it through the first BioShock because it got a little.
Oh my God, Sam! How did you not play through the first Bio? That is like
because when a game just scares the shit out of you, you don't want to keep doing it.
That game has got to easily be in my top 5, if not my top 5, in my top 10 favorite games.
I don't doubt it's a good game. Plenty of people like it. You know what? Here's my solution to horror video gaming for me. Just let me turn the brightness setting up 10 more.
That'll be fine. That's cheating.
That is cheating. Did you at least finish The Last of Us?
Well, no, because Destiny came out. Like I will continue to play that game at some point. I never stopped playing that because it was scary. I stopped playing that because Destiny.
When Destiny ends, Sam will finish The Last of Us.
Good luck. So I missed it. Did you actually play Dead Space?
I didn't play Dead Space.
Okay, I
watched roommates play Dead Space, and I have played like the iOS version of it.
Oh yeah, that's exactly like the console version.
Is it?
Yeah, just like it. Completely 100%.
Okay, well, I assumed it was different, and I assumed your sarcasm. No, I that's why I didn't say I played it. I've played the iOS app. That seemed really good. Like from how my roommates were ranting and raving about it, but I never played it.
Yeah, but would those games have been as good if they weren't scary, Sam? Like, would BioShock 1 have been as awesome as a game? And maybe this is a better question for Nathan. Would BioShock have been as good of a game if it weren't a little scary?
Absolutely not. I think some of my favorite moments in Dead Space as well.
Big Daddies weren't Big Daddies.
Yeah, and getting scared shitless and literally waking up with my roommates cursing and walking away from my computer because it just scared me. So I think those are some of the best memories for those games.
One of the things that I absolutely want to do is I want to personally play through Until Dawn. It's like after seeing so many different people stream and go through it, I keep watching it being like, no, 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 don't do that. There's got to be something like right over there. So just go there, and then they're not going there. And it's like, well, that character died. Good job. There was
That's what you
probably
get.
something over there. Um, but I like scary games. I don't like scary movies, but scary games I can sink my teeth into. Speaking of sinking my teeth into things, um, do you guys consider zombie games to be horror games? Because, like, for me
No.
personally, the reason I ask is because I don't consider zombie movies to be horror movies. Because, like I said, I can't do horror movies, but just about every zombie movie out there I can watch.
No,
So
I don't think it's by default a horror game. Mainly because there's a lot of humorous ones too.
So what you're saying is Plants vs Zombies isn't a horror game?
Oh, it's absolutely a horror game.
Okay,
No, I'm just kidding.
I
No,
don't think they're appropriately titled a horror game, but I definitely think a lot of them, like Killing Floor too, a lot of games where it's survival, they definitely give you the feeling of absolute fear of that, like, oh my god, I can't die, and it's everything's closing on you. That's a real sense of fear. So I wouldn't necessarily always call them a horror game.
Yeah.
But they do give you the feeling, and they do scare you. It's just a little bit different.
Well,
Kind of
like,
scare.
to me, it's like Left 4 Dead. To me, is not a horror game by default because it's like an FPS where you like put zombie stuff on it. So yeah, I mean, in that sense, no.
Okay. I mean, I will say, like, the only zombie-esque thing that's actually frightened me, excuse me, is The Last of Us. But I feel like the clickers and those zombies didn't scare me as much as the other people in the world scared me. And the incredibly limited resources, where it's like they did that game perfectly. It's like you go into a room and there are, three clickers and a bunch of, runners around, and then you look at your ammo, it's like, okay, I have 4 pistol rounds and 3 hunting rifle rounds. How am I going to make this work? Oh, there's a brick over there. Maybe I can throw that into it. And it became scarier because you're trying to survive and do resource management at the same time.
Well, and I think you touched on a little bit of a sub point is that like all zombies are not made equal in different games and different TV shows even. And so you get some zombies that like can run and come at you, and in some shows and genres the zombies are just it's always the mass of zombies that gets you versus how fast a zombie can attack you. So I think that also plays into it, because if it's just a swarming mass, like, you close the door and you run away.
Real quick, I just want to address the stream real fast. Agent Hardwire is worried because there's no eating on stream, and there's no one in the chat hitting on random participants. She's making sure this is actually a Nerdy Nights podcast, and I just want to assure you, there was eating.
I don't have food.
I
I'm
just
sorry.
happened to finish it. And I also tend to not eat very much when I'm stressed out. And I'm planning a 24-hour live event in 2 weeks. So I'm just a little stressed out. So there's that. I'm sorry. And hi, chat. I love you guys.
Okay, now you gotta say it more dirty, man.
Hey, chat. I love you.
That's creepy. That's not dirty.
All right. Let's get into my last question for this topic, and that is, you guys have at least played some scary games. Okay. What do you think have been the best jump scares or the most memorable jump scares for you? Nate, I'm going to start with you.
Oh man. I try to remember what Dead Space it was, but running towards the elevator and being chased all the way to the elevator and having no weapon. It was I think it was 2, the very intro to
Oh,
it.
yeah. No, the very beginning of it.
Yeah, the very beginning to it, and running desperately to the elevator, and then it gets its hand to the door. You're like, oh god, there's nothing I can do. Yeah, that made me jump a lot. I'll give you that
See,
one.
I played the beginning of Dead Space 2 before I played Dead Space 1, and I got to that part, and I freaked out. I put the controller down. I'm like, I'm gonna go play Dead Space 1. But yeah, no, I think that's a good one. Sam, how about you? Can you think of any?
So here's the thing: you're asking me to like relive something that I like spend a lot of time trying not to remember.
Very deep.
So I mean, like my best example, to be honest, of recent memory is probably just how good that playable trailer for Silent Hills was. Like the different things, like once you activated them, you went through and you were just like, holy shit! Like, where's this random crying coming from? And then like, yeah. So that's probably as close as I'm going to give you to a legitimate answer to that question.
See, for me, like I have a couple. Like Alien Isolation had quite a few of them for me when I was playing through for the first time. It did become quite repetitive, so it's like I started to expect it. But that first time where the xenomorph just jumped right out at you, and you're like trying to scramble back, kind of into there's like a duct that you're trying to get into. That right there was one of my favorite ones, and more recently wasn't even from a horror game. It was from Arkham Knight. I'm just swinging around on my grappling hook and
Oh yeah,
attach myself to the ledge of something, swing up, and there's Man Bat just right in your face. And I'm like, oh my god.
that's fair. That was pretty.
And then the other one, like it happened to me 3 times in Arkham Knight, and the other big one was when you're playing as Commissioner Gordon. And that's all I'll say for that because the game is still fairly new.
Yeah, I will say the part near the end when you're Joker
Yeah.
is also but that's like very much the way they set it up. Like
Oh,
it wasn't
absolutely.
the actual stuff that was scaring you, but it's just like you're in this different like mindset and mentality all of a sudden. So Arkham Knight did have some good ones. I will say that.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, I will go back to what Ben brought up with The Last of Us. I will say there is no fear, like for those who play H1Z1, of being upstairs in the building and hearing someone open the front door below you. That's fear for those who play H1Z1.
I've seen streams of it, and I can
Yeah.
only imagine what that actual feeling is like. But let's round out my topic right there. I think that's a fairly decent place to stop because I'm sure Sam has a lot he wants to say about this topic.
The best topic.
The topic that he stole from me.
I did not steal the topic from you. Some people just aren't as aggressive on picking their topic.
Sometimes as a good host, I like to let other people choose their topics first, and I guess that's my fault.
And as a good co-host, I like to bring good content.
Fair enough, Sam.
Suck it.
So, Sam,
And with debates.
tell us, what is your topic?
Okay, so my topic for the week is YouTube Red. And if you have not, red is in the color. And if you've not heard about YouTube Red, they announced it probably last week, like 5 days ago. It is basically a paid YouTube service now. So it's a subscription-based YouTube service for $9.99 a month.
It launches at the end of November, right?
Some stuff launches like this week, and then some stuff doesn't launch until January. So I'll get into what launches when and doesn't. $9.99 for regular people, $12.99 if you want to pay the iOS tax. Hint: just go online and buy it, and don't buy it through the Apple Store. You get ad-free YouTube browsing. You get the ability to download things from YouTube for offline browsing. You get to play YouTube in the background. So basically, for anyone who likes to use YouTube as their Spotify service or their listening service, you can do that, and you can still listen to music while you do other stuff on your phone. Stuff they didn't really talk about, or there's less details about, but you also have Google Play access. You have Google Play Music access, which is a pretty good deal considering that service was $9.99 to begin with.
Right.
So if you're already paying for that, woohoo! And then there's going to be exclusive content specific for YouTube Red subscribers. So essentially the way they put it is like 99.9% of content for YouTube will continue to be free / ad supported. The 0.01% of content will be paid for. So like if PewDiePie has his own he's already announced that he's going to have a specific show on YouTube Red that YouTube Red subscribers will be the only ones who.
So it sounds like this is kind of their attack on, not attack, but their answer to like Amazon originals or Netflix originals or things like that. This is their way of getting into that, getting their hand in that cookie jar.
Yeah, I mean, and here's where the parts get tricky. So like the ad-free stuff comes right away. It won't be till January until they launch any of their originals. But the question becomes what are they really just creating a new pie to split a little bit of? And this is the part no one really understands right now. So right now, YouTube content creators get about 55% of the ad revenue pie. What they've said with Red is that the majority of Red revenue will go back to the content creators as well. So the question really becomes well, why did you need this additional thing if you were already going to share X amount of money with us? So there's some talk about is it going to be one of those situations where it's the haves versus the have-nots? Again, I think it's going to be weird for YouTube to be policing content because I'm sure people are going to go on Red, download it, torrent it, do all this other the stuff that's unnecessary. Because you even think about it now, if you really want to download a YouTube video, you can. It's just not as easy as clicking a button on your phone. If you want to play things in the background, again, you can. It's just not as easy as double tapping the home button. So I guess the real question becomes who's this really for? I mean, yes, YouTube content creators have been asking for a while for some sort of subscription service. The question becomes is this really going to benefit people, or is this really just making the rich richer from a YouTube perspective? I mean, what do you guys think?
No, I mean, I would have to agree with you, Sam. Initially looking at it, I was like, oh yeah, I'll pay for that. Ad-free YouTube? That sounds good. And some exclusive content? That sounds great. And then I thought, wait, I have ad block.
Yeah.
And if people are going to be able to download this, there's going to be no shortage of torrents for me to find exactly what I'm looking for. Nah, I'm not going to spend money on this. And you're absolutely right. It's what are you doing? Are you paving the way for something in particular? What I'm wondering is this the first step in them trying it out to see if it works for YouTube gaming the same way that Twitch partnered streamers work? Is that going to be their way of figuring out how to incorporate some partnered streaming? But it's beyond that. I don't know. It just seems oh, hey, let's try to grab money.
Yeah, and I almost wonder whether this is somewhat of a grab at Patreon. So have either of you used or heard of Patreon? No.
I have not.
You mean Patreon?
Yeah, Patreon. Sorry, Patreon. Yeah, there's an E in
Okay,
there.
I've heard of it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's.
I think that to me is probably more the thing they're going to attack. The problem is this doesn't replace that.
No.
So your popular streamers who are getting support through Patreon, they're still going to get that. Because again, this is. I have a feeling what they're ultimately going to be, what's going to be revolutionary about this is basically they're going to create a payment methodology that is better than how Spotify pays their artists. Because, if you've seen the stuff that's come out through the years, one of the biggest complaints is it's not like they take an entire bucket of money and then just
throw it at the screen?
Throw it at the screen, dump it on the screen, and associate it to who gets what type of usage and viewability. Maybe they're going to get closer to that now, where it says, look, if Ben pays $10 and he spends 60% of his time watching this content creator, 70% of it, or 40% of his time watching this other content creator, let's call it $8. So YouTube cuts off the $2. 60% goes to one, 40 goes to the other. I think they may get closer to that. And that could be cool. for content.
Yeah.
But again, right now it's a little bit of a black box. You don't know. Just wait for that YouTube check to show up.
Well, actually, I read an article earlier, or not an article. I listened to a podcast that Total Biscuit did, because he's actually been staying on top of this very heavily. He actually had got in contact with YouTube, and apparently they're actually going to reduce the amount that goes to content creators. But supposedly, since there's going to be more money in the pot, content creators still will make more, but the percentage of what they will get compared to the whole will be smaller. Big name YouTubers will make more money as well, and it's now divided by how many views you get, how long your views last, and so it is going to be. I think it's going to be a great thing for content creators, but I just don't really see that there's a market for it. I mean, most younger people our age or younger now either have ad block or torrents will download. There are plenty of, as you said, there are plenty of programs that download YouTube videos. So I don't know who they're targeting. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I think they need to figure out some other, like, just another gimmick to give the people who might do this. There's legitimately no reason to do this. Like, I keep reading it over and over, and like I'm reading the benefits, and it's just like unless the YouTube, like, the original shows that you're talking about making are going to be like just outstanding and amazing, I don't see it mattering. Now, if they do something like, say, the next season of Video Game High School is going to be exclusively on YouTube Red, then we're going to have a problem. Because I'm going to need to watch that.
Are you... Like, you're not going to find some other way to get it? Like,
And
you're just going to suck it up and pay $10?
Well, I mean, if I do pay $10, I'm going to pay it for 2 months while I watch that and then stop.
I mean, I also think the entire Google Play thing, I think they didn't make a big deal about that when they kind of announced it. I think that's the bigger side, right? Because now they can legitimately go after Spotify. Be like, look, Spotify, like, I'm gonna give you ad-free YouTube. I'm gonna give you music as well. Like, suck it.
I don't see them winning that battle at all.
Oh, me neither.
And another thing is, they're trying to make money on a website that's been free for its entire existence. I mean, I never paid a penny on YouTube, but the majority of people never have. You could buy a video, but most people don't do that. Our generation, we can download whatever we want. There's no need to pay for this. So they're just creating. If they knew people had fixes for a lot of these, they know about AdBlock. They've known about AdBlock. They've tried to get around it from time to time, but AdBlock's always been one step ahead. So it's just one of those things. They're going to create a way to spend money that a lot of people are just going to ignore. There's no point in it. So good luck with them.
Yeah,
so,
and
like who? So in your guys' mind, who wins? Who wins from this?
I honestly don't think anybody.
Yeah, because again, I just don't. You know who wins from this? Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, because they're gonna sit there and watch YouTube just like flounder, trying to get. They're essentially in a fish tank that has too many fish, or not necessarily too many fish, but the fish are too big.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that YouTube is going to be able to compete with those two, on original content especially, on those two. And I don't know, I mean, there's people in the chat that say YouTube might do really well, but
I mean, so I think really the people who win are the PewDiePies of the world. Like, they're going to make more money. If you're if you're the 1%, if you're sitting at the top of YouTube, you're going to be getting more money. I don't actually think YouTube wins. I think they take like 2 steps forward and 1 step back at best. And some of this is coming from the fact that like they're forcing content sites to like give them more rights as part of this like YouTube Red thing. Because right now it's an all or nothing. Like, you either get on YouTube Red or your monetized content goes private. And so like they announced. I don't know if it was today, or no, it was on Friday. Like ESPN's not going to put any of their content on YouTube now, and some of it's because they have other like rights and contracts with their content that they just can't abide by YouTube's new rules. But to me, like, I don't think that actually is a win for them. Same thing with there's some video game companies that haven't signed on yet, so some of their content is going to get flagged for takedown or for privacy. So, yeah, PewDiePie wins. Congrats.
I honestly, I think YouTube has always been so successful because they stuck to their guns. They were good, very good, and they were the best at one thing. And now they're trying to get in everybody else's business. They're trying to be Spotify. They're trying to be all these other things. If they stick to their guns, they'll do great. But if they keep try to play everybody else's game, I don't think it's gonna work out for them.
Nathan, micro in the chat. He doesn't want to panic you.
Uh-oh.
Okay. But someone just came and used the PC behind you,
and
he
a ghost?
thinks it may be a burglar.
Well, as long as he hasn't shot me yet. Oh yeah, okay. If he's white, we're good. We're good.
He is in a hoodie though, so.
Oh man, he's doing nefarious deeds.
And he's a white guy, so he'll get away with it.
Are we sure he's not a ghost? Like, he could be pretty pale. I could see him now.
It's a little scary and unnerving.
Yo, you need to get out of my house.
Can't hear you. He's a ghost.
Yep,
exactly.
Gotta be that. Gotta be
do his own thing.
Yeah, ghosts can't hear people. It's a fact in mythology that they can go.
We can hear them, so they can be annoying, but they can't hear us.
That's the reason why they're actually going woo so much. They're actually saying, "I can't understand you."
We just don't unfortunately teach ghost language in school anymore, so a lot of people have a hard time understanding it. It's a travesty.
You know why, Nate? It's because it's a dead language.
See what you did there, and I gotta award that one. That was a good one.
All right, Sam. What else? Is there anything else you want to add into YouTube Red?
I mean, I think you guys have answered the questions I've had, which is, will you be subscribing to YouTube Red?
Most likely not.
No. Who wins? Who's not the consumer really? No, I mean, I think that's it. I think it'll be interesting to see how things play out for them, just because they are so big, and what is it going to mean in the long run? But at the end of the day, I could see this being a flop for Alphabet, for Google, something that they'll maybe eventually go away from. And again, I think I don't know. I mean, I think ad block does really cut into what they do, but there's still plenty of people who watch ads on YouTube and don't care. So
this is true. And real quick, for anyone that gives me shit about the puns, I love terrible puns. And I will always do this.
Is a terrible pun.
As long as this show is on Twitch and on the channel, I will always make bad puns.
So for like the next 10 minutes, you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is a good time to kind of wrap things up and get into our BS jousting. What do you think, Sam?
You're going down, man. Go down.
So real quick, because it's a fairly new segment, BS jousting is a new segment of the show where Sam and I sit and debate something absolutely ridiculous, and we leave it to our guest, which this week is Nathan, to decide who the winner is. But remember, you, the listener, can also participate, because when the show goes live on nkrn.org, there will be a poll where you can vote and leave comments on who you think won the debate and what your opinion is. So, Sam, are we going to determine who goes first the same way we did last week?
Yeah, but I think you can pick this time, because I got the call last time.
Okay.
So you can call it odds or evens.
Okay, you can go first, Sam.
That doesn't make sense. No, you call odds and evens.
Oh,
get a
I
random
gotcha.
number, and then if you win,
I
can
got
pick.
you. Your quality went down, so I couldn't understand you 100%. So, I am going to call evens, Alexa, give me a number between 0 and 100.
Your random number between 0 and 100 is 1.
Oh,
Really? God damn it. Did I pick odds or did I pick evens? I don't even remember.
pick evens.
Okay.
Most definitely
Give
picked
me that
evens.
shit.
So real quick, for those of you who don't know, each debate is going to be Sam and I are going to get 2 chances to talk each, and we're going to get a minute each time we talk. There is a wonderful voice in my ear that is telling me when that minute is up.
Nathan, you can set a timer too.
No, the voice in my ear will tell me what to do because I trust him implicitly.
Yeah, so you're cheating, is what you're saying. All right, that's fine. That's fine. You
I'm
guys all
sure-
heard it now.
I'm
Not
sure
trusted.
voice
That
in
is a
my
cheating.
ear will yell in the chat if I go over, so you'll all know.
All right.
So, am I going first, Sam?
You know what? Honestly, I think it's better if I go first, but I'm gonna throw this one to you because you lost last week. So, throwing you a bone, buddy. Throwing you a bone.
Oh, I think you can go first. Are
Nope.
you saying you want me
I'm
to
saying
go
you
first?
go first.
You're not making any sense. You're not being clear, Sam. God.
I'm getting in your head before the joust.
Okay, real quick. This
Now.
week's topic is going to be comic books. Specifically, are they better for TV or movies? Sam is taking the stance that they're better for movies. I am taking the stance that they are better for television.
Correction, Sam is taking the opposite stance of Ben.
Right.
My thoughts and beliefs may not be actually how I debate.
Uh-huh. That's exactly how they work. So I'm going to start talking in just a second. Mike's going to figure out how he's going to tell me when 1 minute is up while I start talking.
He could just yell into the stream.
Okay.
Just unmute himself.
Sam, Mike wants you to announce me starting my debate.
What?
That's what he said. Just
So-
say go.
Okay, go.
So the reason why comic books are better for TV is because comic books in and of themselves are serialized content. It's meant for something that you take in a small dose and then you wait for the next issue to come out. And that's exactly how TV works. You get one episode once a week, and there's small bite-sized bits, and then you have story arcs in comics as well. You get longer story arcs, and that's essentially a half season in a TV show where they can put in all of the great content, not miss any of the awesome beats that comic books usually have, and be able to kind of get everything that a comic book should have into the show. And, you know, I just feel like there's a lot more opportunity to do fan servicey things in the TV shows. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much, that's my thing.
Okay.
Go.
So I'd like to just say fans ruin everything, and fan service is not something we should be shooting for in any sort of the content we create. I agree that it is a serialized form of art, and it is a content that should go that way. However, I think what happens is you encourage developers to create things that set up a world that you want to live in, and then kind of pay fan service into that world, as opposed to movies where you're actually just telling the story and you're picking the best parts of the story, the most interesting parts of the story, and crafting a narrative around it. So something like 300, you wouldn't have watched 300 the TV series. The 300 movie was a good like 2-part whatever. And if you look at something like Batman, which Ben doesn't like apparently, you'll see that there's not that many great Batman TV series. Gotham isn't that great. You know what was great? The Dark Knight. Great movie, great set of movies. That entire series was great. And even then, like Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. versus the Avengers. The Avengers is so much better.
All right. So, I get
Go.
to do. Oh, Jesus Christ. So, while Sam is right that there are some great movies that are better, there's still the great TV shows. Sam says I don't like Batman. Yes, I don't like Gotham, but the Batman animated series, phenomenal, and I would say even better than the Dark Knight trilogy. My own opinion, and just so many beats are missed in a movie. You don't get the same kind of suspense that you get from reading a comic book and watching a show by watching a movie. There aren't the same kind of cliffhangers because they finish the story arc. Whereas what makes some great comic book story arcs so awesome is the fact that there are those beats and cliffhangers that TV shows can do because they're not going, it's not one full thing unless you're binge watching it on Netflix. So I mean, essentially, the comic book and the TV show, they were created for one another, and TV shows wouldn't be around as well as they are if comic books weren't there. It's 10 times more stressful having the voice in your ear telling you this, Sam, just so you know.
Okay.
Ready, set, go.
So my final pitch is exactly based on what you said, which is about the world and is about the fans and being able to immerse yourself into an environment and all this ticks and turns. The problem is, as an outside viewer, you can't just join in. You can't just appreciate it. If you're just going to start The Walking Dead randomly, you can't. It's hard. There's too much backstory. There's too much backstory in a lot of this. You're going to get people who get on and they're like, I don't know what's happening, and I kind of don't care. It's like, even shows like Smallville, which generally is rated pretty well. I wasn't going to pick it up in season whatever, like 5. It ran for 10 seasons. Like, I'm not going to rewatch 10 seasons of the show just to get that story. So I think for the average user, for the average consumer of content, getting that great and the best nugget, hopefully, of that show or that comic is, I think, the best part, is the best way to approach it. It's commitment-free viewing. You can see it, you can enjoy it, you can love it, and you can go to bed. Ben loses.
All right, Sam, you're not the one who decides who loses. I think you forgot the whole point of this whole BS jousting
subliminal
thing.
messaging.
I don't think it's subliminal if you're just saying it,
It's
Sam.
not subliminal anymore.
Shut up!
That's our next topic. What is subliminal and what is not? Nate, who won?
It's that. It's funny because I actually disagree with who won the debate. I definitely think you won, Ben. It's different in my stance, but you made really, really good arguments for it.
That's right, Sam, in your face.
Whatever, I'll let you have this one.
All right, guys. I think this is a good place to end the show. I had
The chat should vote. Come on, chat.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Vote for me. Let's see it.
Chat, what do you think? What do you think? And you're going to go tell us at nkrn.org Oh, no, you just go to nkrn.org. I don't know. Forget any of the stuff that I just said. I've been drinking alcohol. I haven't been drinking alcohol. Yeah, Future Ben is, things and stuff and words and reasons. Let's end the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, you can find us all over the internet. Nathan, where can people find you?
Right now, they actually really might have a hard time finding me. You can find me on Twitch, Wild Toaster. So, drop in anytime.
Wild Toaster.
That's it.
I'm gonna go follow. I'm gonna go follow you right now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Wild Toasters are great. And of course, you can always follow Sam. He is on Twitter and on everything at DJ Fluffkins, including djfluffkins.com, where you can buy beautiful DJ Fluffkins apparel. You can't do that, just so you know. But you can follow me on Twitter. I am at BRidiculous. That's BRiDDICKULOUS. You can follow everything Nerdy Nights related at Nerdy Nights and at Nerdy_Nights on Twitter, and at our oh my god, I can't talk tonight, and on our website www.nkrn.org. Remember, you can also find all of the information about Extra Life there, where we're trying to raise $5,000 for Children's Miracle Network hospitals by doing a 24-hour live stream event November 7th. So if you're in the chat, I want to see you there, because guess what? I've got some really fucking cool prizes to give you. And I have so many prizes, I don't even know how I'm giving them all away. So you're going to have to be on the stream, and it's going to be so much fun. There's going to be trivia. I'm going to set it up so the stream can play Cards Against Humanity with us. It's going to be a goddamn blast. Okay? And you can find all of that information www.nkrn.org/extra life. And of course, please donate, because every little bit helps. And all of the proceeds go to Children's Miracle Network hospitals. And I am specifically raising money for the UCSF Benioff Hospital in Oakland, California.
For the children, people.
For
the children.
Think of the kids.
Remember, Nerdy Nights Radio is live on Twitch every Monday evening at 7:30 Pacific Daylight Time for
now for another week.
And you can be a part of the show by participating in the chat, like the wonderful people like Renegade Actor, Micro 12, Mr. Brain Sick, and Agent Hardwire. They've been wonderful in the chat, and I love them so much. And you can also find the videos, split videos, topic by topic, on YouTube.
With your YouTube Red subscription.
With your YouTube Red subscription. YouTube.com/NKR Productions. You can also find us on iTunes. Thanks again, everyone. And it has been an excellent night. And I officially dub the Nerdy Knights of the Round. Go out and defend the realm of the Nerdy Knights. And until next week, remember,